Friends, as I said before, Jesus Christ said in Matthew 16, verses 18, I will build my church, meaning that he himself will build his church. And his church, as I indicated before, in Hebrews, it is called Mount Zion. So it is where he is building his church, uh, the church of God. This is where he is writing his laws in each and every individual that God has called. And the Apostle Peter called those that are in the church living stones. So God himself is the one who is building this church. He's the one who is building Mount Zion. Now, everyone who ever lived will have to be born from Mount Zion, from the church of God. Jesus Christ himself was the firstborn among many brethren. And at his first coming, there will be a first resurrection, and those who are in Christ will be born in one day, and they will become kings and priests in his kingdom. This is recorded in Revelation 5, verses 10. Now, in Psalm 87, which I want us to read now, it is where it is recorded that Jesus Christ was the firstborn, and those that are resurrected at his second coming will be born in one day. So a nation will be born in one day from Mount Zion. Now I'm going to read from Psalm 87, starting with verse 3. It says here, glorious things are spoken of you, O city of God. Now, the city of God, as I said, is Mount Zion. It is the spiritual Jerusalem. I will make mention of Rahab and Babylon to those who know me. Behold, O Philistia and Tyre, with Ethiopia, this one was born there, meaning that the Gentile nations will be born there in Mount Zion, the church of God. And of Zion it will be said, this one and that one were born in her. And the Most High himself shall establish her. As I said, God himself will build his church. The Lord himself will record when he registers the peoples. This one was born there, meaning that they will be born in Mount Zion from the church. Both the singers and the players of instruments say, all my springs are in you, meaning that all those who are born will be born through the Spirit of God from Mount Zion. The Apostle Paul confirms this in 1 Thessalonians 4, verses 13 to 14. And he says here, but I do not want you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning those who have fallen asleep, lest you sorrow as others who have no hope. For if we believe that Jesus died and rose again, even so God will bring with him those who sleep in Jesus. For this we say to you by the word of the Lord, that we who are alive and remain until the coming of the Lord will by no means precede those who are asleep. For the Lord himself will descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of an archangel, and with the trumpet of God, and the dead in Christ will rise first. Then we who are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and thus we shall always be with the Lord. So, as I said, Psalm 87 says, Jesus Christ was born first, and then a nation will be born in one day. Here the Apostle Paul is confirming that that nation, the saints who are in Mount Zion, who are born of God, will be resurrected and born in one day. Now you may ask me a question, where will they be going? In Zechariah 14, verses 3 to 5, it says they will be going to Jerusalem. Then the Lord will go forth. This is now after the turmoil in the Middle East, where God is going to intervene to save the Jews in the Middle East. He says, then the Lord will go forth and fight against those nations, the nations who are fighting against the Jews, as he fights in the day of battle. And in that day, his feet will stand on the Mount of Olives, which faces Jerusalem on the east. And the Mount of Olives shall be split in two from east to west, making a very large valley. Half of the mountain shall move towards the north, and half of it towards the south. Now I want to read the latter part of verse 5, which says, thus the Lord my God will come, and all the saints with you. So, after the resurrection of all the saints, when Jesus Christ comes, they will all descend to the Mount of Olives, to the physical Mount Zion, which is Jerusalem, and Jesus Christ and the saints will rule from there. So in other words, the spiritual Mount Zion will be going to the physical Mount Zion, which is Jerusalem, and rule from there. The Apostle John also confirms this in Revelation 14, verses 1. And he says, then I looked, and behold, a lamb standing on Mount Zion, that is the physical place called Jerusalem, at the Mount of Olives. And with him, 144,000, having his father's name written on their foreheads. So clearly, Jesus Christ is going to resurrect the saints, and he's going to rule with the saints from Mount Zion. And the church is Mount Zion. These people will be born out of Mount Zion. And it is said in other scriptures that the law will come from Mount Zion, which is the church of God, as well as the physical place, Jerusalem.